Hi guys, it's Clarice and welcome to another video tutorial with me. We are continuing on with our Wildflower series. If you are new to my channel or seeing this video by me for the first time, know that I have done other watercolor wildflowers. It's been an ongoing series, so feel free to check those out. And if you like watercolor, please be sure to subscribe to the channel so you get notified for new videos. Alright, so for today we are doing forget-me-nots, those delicate bluish purple little flowers with a hint of pink. So I'm super excited for those. Let's get started with the supplies. For supplies, I'm going to be using my Silver Black Velvet number 4, my Escoda number 2. I have my palette ready by Lisi Arts. For colors, we are going to be using cobalt blue. I am going to be keeping my violet handy as well, just to kind of mix these up and get a variation perhaps. I'm going to get a little bit of the carmine for the buds. For the centers, we're going to use the cadmium medium lemon. And then for the greens, we're going to be using a mixture of emerald and umber. Alright, so let's begin. I have water ready. Oh, and my paper. My paper is Canson XL watercolor paper. I'm just going to draw a really rough sketch of what this little sprig or sprigs of forget-me-nots are going to look like on my sheet, and this way I have an idea of what's going where. I don't have the best pencil right now, but since it's just a very rough thing, I'm just going to go for it. So I'm going to do my strand in the center, just like that. And I'm going to make it so that we've got some little stems going upward, and then we've got like another one happening over here. And the little buds are going to be at the very end. And I'm just doing a very, very rough kind of visual for me more than anything else. And then we'll have a couple of flowers coming over here on this side, and then just maybe another sprig here with some additional florals. As I was mentioning, this is a very, very rough sketch. So it's not the cat's meow, I know, but this just gives me an idea of where I'm going to be placing things. We're going to have a couple of strands of like leafy looking bud things happening here, and just like another strand here with the tiny little pinky buds that we're going to have. Perfect. And that's it. I'm just going to do the one and allow you guys to kind of explore and kind of create your own in your own manner. Doing a couple of leaves, very tiny, delicate looking things here and there. And this is going to be our little strand. I know it's super light, but once we start painting, you'll see it. So we have a really rough sketch here, and I'm just going to quickly start mixing some colors. Let's start off by mixing some of the blues that we need, and I'm going to use my number 2. So here we go. I'm firstly going to mix some of the cobalt blue right here. And once I have a decent amount of it, I'm going to get some of that, mix it on here, have another little puddle, and get some of my purple or violet from St. Petersburg, and just add that to this mix on here. Just mixing some more of that cobalt in here. Alright, so we've got 2 different variations of the blue, and now I'm just going to be mixing a tiny bit of the carmine. And if you have quinacridone rose, that might work as well, by Daniel Smith. I'm just adding a little bit of extra pink here because I think the first round was a little contaminated. So that's literally, I think, all I'm going to need for this. And then mixing some of the greens, I'm going to use the number 4 for that. So getting some of my emerald. And it's really a pretty color, but we don't need something this bright. Mixing some of the umber in here to kind of mute it down. There we go. That's a much nicer green. So just mixing that in and keeping this ready so that when we're ready to begin, we have everything on here. Alright, so now that I've mixed my color, I am just going to put these aside and we are going to start painting our rough sketch that we have happening here. So I've zoomed in so you can see exactly how I am going to be starting these off, and you can kind of go along with me. Now, the thing with these florals is that they have a center which has yellow and then a little bit of the white, so it's imperative, since we're drawing this without a really solid image of the floral, that we are attentive to the space in between. So I'm going to start off by using the number 2, and I'm going to get some of the light blue, the cobalt blue that we kind of mixed, the one without the purple. And once I have this, we're going to start doing our 5 petals. So let's just start off with doing one that's kind of head on so you can see what that looks like. And I'm going to kind of we're using number 2 so that we can get some nice small sizing. So pressing down, trailing downward, doing this on the other side, we're kind of creating a petal. And then I want to distance the next petal over just a tad bit so we have some white space. I know as I said it, I kind of joined in over here and lost the white space, but doesn't mean we can't try it for the next side. So you have to be very intentional, even though this is a loose style of painting, as you are kind of going along and putting down these little tiny petals. Now if there's not a lot of space for the 5th one, it's okay, just kind of make it super thin and small. Like I mentioned, it is a loose style of painting, so that kind of helps there. I'm going to get a little bit of the darker blue and just kind of add it, the darker one with the purple that is, and just add it in there to kind of have that nice mix. We're going to go ahead and create another one just in the outskirts or in the background over here. And for this one, I should be able to do a better job because I'm being more intentional now. I've had a chance to kind of warm up with that first floral. And notice it is very, very light, and it's possibly going to dry off even lighter. And again, I'm going to go in with that darker blue and just add it to the bottom of our petals. And then moving back to the lighter blue, we're going to go ahead and create some florals over here on this end. And literally 2 strokes and you're able to kind of create those petals for these flowers. So just kind of keep going along and create as many florals as you want for this. It's quite repetitive and it kind of gives you that good practice as well for simple florals like this. So once you lay down your light blue, you're going in with the darker blue and just adding it to the center. And if you feel like you need to mix a little bit more of that purple in, and just go ahead and dab in the center to give it that nice stark dark to light, then absolutely do that. All right, so we've kind of come along over there. We've got 3. I'm going to do a couple more, and they don't have to be symmetrical or in line or anything. So we'll do one kind of facing upward over here. So this might take a little bit of practice for those who are new. So I'm kind of oval shaping my shapes here of the flower to kind of get that effect. And I'm not adding too much detail to it. I'm just going to leave that as is over there, and adding some of the darker blue in the center. There we go. So it's kind of coming along quite nicely. We're going to go ahead and do some more before we can move on to the next bit. All right, so this next floral, again, simply adding little strokes, leaving white space in between the petals, that is, and also within the petal itself, whatever you can do. And then going in with the darker hue and then just kind of dabbing it in the center so that it flares out into the flower. And enhancing it for the other ones too if you feel like you need it, because it really does add something pretty and dimensional to the flowers as a whole. So it's pretty, it's cute, it's coming along. I'm going to kind of mix a little bit more of the purple in with my blue, and I'm going to make this next bit a time lapse just so that this video is not too long. Okay, so I have done a couple of florals and it's looking quite nice, and now we are going to move on to the stems. And so for the stems, we already have our green ready, so we're just going to go ahead and take some of the green and start painting. So we'll kind of join some of these right here, and I'm just using the tip of my brush. And I'm going to go all the way down, and I'm dipping the tip of my brush again in some water, and I'm going to go all the way down here. And then what I want to do before I go all the way down is just get this brush and kind of smoothen out the green, so it gives us like an idea that the stem is thicker and it isn't just like a monotone green. And I'm just going to add a tad bit more of that green here on the other side of the stem as we kind of go downward and elongate this guy, or stem rather. Whoops, just going to make sure that you guys can see stuff. Taking a little bit of a... So this is where, because I have a base drawing and because I am trying to kind of show you how I want this to be, I am not quite being as loose in my strokes. But the florals are fairly loose. And now we're just going to go ahead and create the additional stems here. And getting more water. I want to get some more color on here and add some nice hints of light and dark. And then for this sort of leaf that we have here, the leaf is kind of like nice and broad. I'm going to get some more color for the second stroke that we're going to do for this leaf. And let's do that here. And again, notice I'm leaving that white space. And we can even add another leaf happening over here on this end. Now you can add some brown into these leaves as well. I prefer to keep this a nice palette of greens because I do know these are lighter greens actually, the leaves and pretty much some of the stems. But I want to keep this, this color palette for our little painting here. So really, I think it depends on your preference. If you want to take a reference image and get the colors down right, you can absolutely do that. It is your painting. I am just kind of helping you along. We're going to go ahead and add these stems up here, connecting our little flowers. And we are pretty much done with a couple of enhancements that are needed. I'm just going to add some peaking stems happening over here as well. I always like these because it just kind of enhances your painting and just makes it look a little additionally delicate and cute. And we also need to do these little guys over here, so which are the buds. So I'm mixing a little bit more of the umber into this mixture of green, and we are going to create some buds over here on this side and kind of yeah, add some pinks and blues to it as well. Okay, so we'll do a couple over here, and what I'm going to do is create these tiny little buds with the green, and I'm just going to give it the round shape, and I'm not coloring essentially all of them in, because what I want to do is then go in with this brush and get some, oops, yeah, get some of my blue and maybe even the hints of pink that we initially spoke of, and just kind of add that into these areas here. Right, and in fact, I'm looking at this now, and we could possibly even do some here and have the green be lighter so that it doesn't look too overpowering. So I'm just going to do those little hints there, and then try and have the blue take over the green, or just blend in with the green to give us that nice loose effect. And so remember, just keep white space in there so that it doesn't look too crowded and fully painted in. And yeah, so coming along really, really nicely. Yes, so I'm just kind of surveying where we can add some of the pink. We can even add some of the pink over here, actually. I'm just going to add some green just at the bottom of these little guys here. And then we're going to go in and get some of the carmine that we have mixed here on this palette. I'm going to get some of that carmine, and I'm going to add that in. Just going to dab some of that pink on my sheet first, paper towel that is, and then go in and add the pink here and there. And then I even want to add some pink. I'm just going to add some pink over here as well, and just like in between the flowers, possibly, just to kind of have this pink tone pick up. Adding some in between. And then going in with that blue, especially for this area here, and I'm just going to add some blue to the other areas where we have not filled in with the pink. And then that's what gives us that nice gradient kind of effect for these, right? And you can even kind of go in and add some pink into some of these other petals. I've done some lighter looking florals there in the background. You can even add some lighter pink petals happening here and there. Like really, really light so it doesn't stand out too much. Just like a couple of like dabs here and there. Perfect. And so we are done this aspect of the painting. Now we can kind of go on and add the little centers. So for the centers, I'm going to use the number 2. Again, we're going to revert back to the number 2, and I'm going to get some of the yellow cadmium medium lemon that we're using, and I'm getting the color directly from the cake, and we have to be a little meticulous with this here because it's going to be a very tiny bit of yellow that we're just kind of dabbing into the center, but we want to leave a rim of white space around between the flower and the center. And in areas that are not like aerial view, just kind of dab a couple of like florals that are kind of facing sideways, just dab a couple of yellow dots in there. And then once this yellow is dried up, we go back in with an indigo or even like a dark green, and we're going to add a dot each to these, and then that's going to really make these pop and stand out. And the ones that are super tiny like those, they don't really need a dot. It's all good. Like just leave them as is. And yeah, and then we are pretty much done once that step is finished. And these are the forget-me-nots. So we've done this. Now we just need to add, we just need to add the little black dots, and then we are finished, right? So in fact, you could even use the violet for that. And I think because it's not a very watery consistency, we are able to kind of go ahead and probably take a chance and just add a single dot into the center of most of these. I know I said I wasn't going to add any over there, but I did it anyways. Perfect, and that's it. We are done. Our cute little sprig of forget-me-nots. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. Let me know in the comments what you thought. I'm actually going to kind of go ahead and create these guys using my Etcher brand as well, brand of pearlescent watercolor paints. And if you have them, you should definitely try and add maybe your second strand based on what I've just shown you and create your own little pretty picture. I think with all the wildflower tutorials I've been doing over the past few weeks, it would be nice to kind of create your own little paintings and maybe even frame them, right? Like each one a different frame, and hang them up somewhere or present them to people. So yeah, hope you guys like this. Please be sure to hit the like button if you gain something from this. Share this in your social media channels, guys. It really does help my channel grow as well. And I really appreciate all your support. Share this. If you end up painting it, please do share it with me on Instagram. My handle is @HelloClarisseG. And that's it. Remember to like and subscribe. Thanks, guys. Bye.